Welcome to the deep dive, where we peel back the layers of seemingly everyday things, to find those surprising bits of language and culture hidden inside. We all go to familiar places, don't really give them a second thought. But what if, like, the most normal errand could actually teach us a ton about communication and safety?
That's pretty much what we're doing today. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into a place, well, lots of us visit pretty regularly without maybe thinking about all the language and systems involved,
The pharmacy?
or the
Wonderful.
drugstore. Our mission is kind of transforming, what looks like just a list of medical words into a real understanding of language, safety, health,
Mhm.
even those awkward public moments. We're pulling this all from a great English learning podcast source.
Yeah, I think it's really cool how a simple trip for medicine can suddenly open up all this stuff. It's that joy of finding deeper meaning where you didn't expect it. That's what makes these deep dives fun. You think you know the pharmacy, right? But, well, we're about to show you there's probably more going on than you realized.
And what's really interesting, I think, is how these like small interactions and terms, they connect to bigger things, public health, your own well-being. We're going to connect the dots, pull together info about not just what words mean, but why they matter so much, why the right word is crucial, the safety warnings hidden in simple phrases, how, society shapes how we get medicine.
Okay, so let's step inside. This place we all know. What do we even call it? Mostly you'll hear pharmacy or drugstore, right?
Yeah.
In American English.
Yeah.
And if you're listening in the UK, you probably just say you're popping to the chemist, which
Yeah.
is interesting itself.
Yeah, the names themselves tell a bit of a story, don't they? Pharmacy sounds quite scientific. Drugstore, maybe a bit more commercial. And chemist focuses on the person, the expert there. Same place, slightly different feel.
Exactly. And once you're talking medicine, there's this tiny, tiny unit that's just everywhere. The milligram, usually written mg.
Right, mg. And it sounds minuscule. It's 1,000th of a gram. So
Mhm.
1,000 milligrams make up just 1 gram. But that's small size. Its precision is everything in medicine. Seriously, even a tiny bit, more or less, a fraction of a milligram,
Yeah.
could be the difference between medicine that helps and medicine that, well, harms. It's why making drugs is such an exact science. You see those numbers on basically every pill bottle.
It really does drive home how important every little detail is.
Yeah.
You pick up a bottle, 200 milligrams, 5 milligrams, tiny number, huge deal. And speaking of everyday pharmacy moments, sometimes slightly stressful ones, let's talk about the price check. You know this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The cashier scans something, beep, nothing happens. They have to call out, need a price check on aisle 3 or whatever.
Hmm.
Okay, so here's where our source material gave us this golden, slightly horrifying moment. It was this English learning dialogue, and the example was the pharmacist having to announce loudly, price check on Fun Times ribbed condoms.
Yep.
Oh, yes. The pure instant embarrassment, you know that feeling? Buying something even a little bit personal, and suddenly you feel like there's a spotlight on you and like a million people are watching.
It's so relatable, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That shared cringe. It's fascinating, really. Shows how even when you're just buying something, our social anxieties are right there. It's like this universal human thing. Happens everywhere, but captured perfectly in that phrase, price check. Language meaning social awkwardness, basically.
Totally. The universal cringe. Okay, so moving on from that checkout moment, let's talk about what you actually get there and what that tells us about the system. What's usually the first hurdle for getting certain medicines?
Well, for a lot of the more serious stuff, the gatekeeper is something we all know,
Uh,
the prescription. But it's more than just a note from the doctor, isn't it? What does it really mean in the whole healthcare setup? That's a good way to put it, yeah. Based on our source, it's that key piece of paper.
Oh.
Or, these days, often digital, from your doctor. It says exactly what medicine, what strength, how often to take it. And importantly, in most places, you legally need it to buy that specific drug. It's not just advice. It's like a formal control step, making sure powerful stuff is used correctly.
Exactly right. And once you have that prescription, the medicine itself might come in different forms. Our source pointed out 2 super common ones, capsules and tablets.
Yeah.
So a capsule is usually that small kind of tube-shaped thing, often smooth, maybe plasticky or gelatin on the outside. You swallow it whole, whereas a tablet is generally that solid pressed pill, often round, sometimes flat.
Right. And what's interesting is they both deliver medicine, obviously, but the form isn't random. It's a deliberate choice.
Oh, definitely. Calculated. Like maybe a capsule smooth coating makes it easier to swallow for some people compared to a big chalky tablet. Or sometimes the capsule protects the medicine inside from your stomach acid so it only breaks down later, like in your intestine. And tablets can be designed differently too, right? Like some have that line down the middle so you can split them easily, or they're made to release the medicine slowly over hours. It's actually pretty complex, the chemistry and design behind it all, getting the drug delivered right.
It really is.
Yeah.
And this design, this form, it connects to something simple but really important, how we talk about it. In English, you always take medicine. You don't eat it, you don't drink it, even if it's liquid sometimes.
Yeah.
You take the capsules, you take the tablets, you take the cough syrup. Using take is standard, helps keep things clear, avoids potentially dangerous mix-ups, especially across languages, or if someone's not a native speaker.
Yeah, that precision with take, it leads us straight into safety, which
Mm.
is huge. Our source dialogue really emphasized the danger of overdose. To overdose just means taking too much medicine, way too much, which can make you incredibly sick, or worse, could even be fatal. It's not just a vocabulary word, it's a critical warning. These substances are powerful.
Absolutely. And the source gave specific warnings, which are vital. Things like, be sure not to take it on an empty stomach, or a really common one, don't ever mix it with alcohol.
Hmm.
These aren't just casual suggestions, they're crucial instructions. They're there to stop bad interactions, or to make sure the drug actually works properly, or to prevent serious harm. Following them carefully is just non-negotiable for any medicine.
Mm-hmm. Whether you got it with a prescription or just picked it up yourself. Which brings us back to the pharmacist's role, too. They're not just handing stuff over, they're a key source of this safety info.
Yeah. And beyond pills and capsules, the source mentioned other things like eye drops,
Mhm.
liquid medicine, right? Usually in those tiny bottles.
Right, for your eyes. Saline solution, sometimes with medicine in it, you have to put it in really precisely, just a drop or two. Another example of like targeted delivery.
And while we've talked a lot about prescriptions, the pharmacy is obviously also where you get everyday health stuff.
Mm.
The source audio mentioned a few other common items, things like a syringe and ointment.
Yeah, a syringe. Think about it's basically a tube, a plunger, sometimes a needle, but that simple tool, it completely changed medicine. Precise doses, vaccines, people managing chronic stuff like diabetes themselves.
And the move to sterile, disposable syringes. Huge impact on public health, cutting down infection risks massively.
Definitely. And ointment, that smooth, often kind of greasy stuff you rub on your skin
Yeah.
for healing or pain. The word itself almost sounds old, like
Yeah.
salves and balms people used way back.
Yeah, it does. Modern ointments just carry that idea forward, but with advanced drug compounds mixed in. So these aren't just words. They're like
Hmm.
little echoes of medical history and progress right there on the shelf.
That's a really neat way to think about it. Okay, this leads us nicely into a really key difference in how medicines are accessed. Prescription medicine versus over-the-counter.
OTC.
Right. This distinction is fundamental. It's not just about needing a doctor's note or not. It's about regulation, access, and honestly about personal responsibility, too. So prescription medicine, like we said, needs that doctor's authorization, the script, because it's stronger or has more potential risks or needs monitoring. But over-the-counter, or OTC medicine, that's the stuff you can buy freely. Without a prescription, think aspirin for a headache or cough drops. Usually for milder things, you can treat yourself.
Mm-hmm. And our source pointed out something specific about the U.S. context. That can often be quite difficult to get most medicines without seeing a doctor and getting that prescription, even for things that might be OTC in other countries.
Yeah, it reflects a pretty strict approach, trying to prevent misuse, make sure a professional is involved, which is generally good for safety, but, it can sometimes make dealing with simple things a bit more effortful or costly.
And this brings up a really interesting point the source hinted at,
Mm-hmm.
a kind of paradox. Even though OTC drugs like, say, aspirin are freely available,
Mm-hmm.
you can still overdose on them if you're not careful.
Right, that's crucial.
It really makes you think about all medicines, doesn't it? Prescription or not. Over-the-counter definitely doesn't mean risk-free. You still absolutely need to read the label, understand the dose, pay attention to warnings. It puts a lot of responsibility on us, the consumers, to be informed.
It really does. A very powerful reminder. Be informed about everything you're taking. Okay, and speaking of being informed, let's pull out some of those practical language bits from the pharmacy dialogue source. Useful everyday phrases. First one, be sure not to.
Yeah, I like this one. It's basically a nicer, softer way to say don't. It gives advice or a warning, but sounds less like an order, more friendly. Examples were good. Be sure not to leave your bike outside, or it'll get stolen. Or be sure not to forget your umbrella.
Right, it softens it. Like that other example, I told him to be sure not to do anything stupid. It just sounds more conversational than don't do anything stupid. It's great for giving advice gently in everyday life. Makes you sound more natural, more approachable.
Definitely. It's a subtle thing, but those subtleties make a big difference in how conversations feel.
For sure. And the other phrase that came up was, hang on, like the pharmacist saying, just hang on there a sec while looking for something.
Hang on. Super common, informal way to say wait, usually for a short time. Like, hang on a second, hang on a moment, hang on a minute.
Yeah, you wouldn't really say hang on an hour, would you?
Probably not, no, but for those quick pauses, it just makes the request sound much more polite, less abrupt than just barking, wait.
Yeah.
Again, it's these little phrases, these conversational lubricants that make interactions flow smoothly, essential for sounding natural when you speak English.
They really are. Shows you understand not just the words, but the social cues, the nuances, which is key to being properly informed, really.
Exactly.
So there we are. Wow. Started with just a trip to the pharmacy, and look where this deep dive took us, way beyond just learning words. We defined the space pharmacy, drugstore, chemist, got into the critical importance of tiny measurements like milligrams, even relived the collective awkwardness of a public price check for certain items.
hmm And we looked inside the medicine cabinet, right? What a prescription really means in the system. Why medicines come as capsules or tablets, the design behind it. That crucial rule, always take medicine.
Ah.
And importantly, the serious stuff. Overdose warnings, why following instructions like don't mix with alcohol or take with food is absolutely vital.
We also touched on other forms like eye drops and saw how even words like syringe and ointment carry history. Then we navigated the big difference prescription versus over-the-counter, the U.S. context there. And we finished with those great little phrases, be sure not to, and hang on, tools to make your everyday English sound more natural, more polite. This was really about understanding health, safety, and just how language works in crucial situations.
It really was. So here's something to think about. We know some common medicines are super easy to get right, off the shelf. But we also know all medicine comes with serious warnings. So what does that tell us about how important it is to be genuinely informed about what we're taking, even if it seems like just a simple painkiller?
Yeah, or maybe think about it this way. How could misunderstanding just one word like take versus something else, or missing one instruction on a label, how could that seriously impact something as critical as your health? It makes you realize how much weight words carry, especially in a place like the pharmacy. Lots to chew on there.